Hello everyone, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo Let's Play episode 12, I believe this is. Cool, 12 episodes already. Well, without further ado, let's begin. Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question, or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I'll throw it in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition. Or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher had said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances or Lila's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. Ah, she's thinking about what you have. Dessin, eh? Oh. She puts her foot between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates from her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. Cool, my reading comprehension today. Bad. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, and less delicious. The problem must be in your pants. Whoa, you can't be saying that to men. No. Messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact that it was delivered with catching me completely off guard. Caught me off guard too, mate. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widen in revelation and astonishment. So I was right, there's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Oh no, I read it wrong. Okay, that was pretty funny. Still partially in shock, but recognizing but the need to reply something, I'll be the first thing I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem, arrhythmia. I said it, more like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glows at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Dropping pants would be much more scandalous. What's with that reaction? Fuck you, now I'm sorry to let you down. I'll forgive you. Just I collect people, and the person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people? People with different problems. Ah, so you just, go around and ask people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and the conversation dies anyway, but I keep thinking about what was said. First time I told anyone else about my condition, all the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else, or didn't need to know about it, like every other student here so far. Should I have told her as a natural part of the introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hisa. I have a very serious heart condition. No, I shouldn't. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. Boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her body look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty except for her musky green eyes which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them, like deep wells. She moves her feet almost deftly, as normal people would use their arms. However, I can see this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, ain't it? Keep searching for cabins and shelves for Misha things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable. So I try to force some conversation out of this strange game. So, do you always eat alone and this way, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you're my first occasional visitor. But I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, that's all I can think what to say. Both of us fell silent again as Rin forks the last bit of her meal to her mouth. I looked down at my haul and double-checked it with Misha's list. It seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was just about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping? Huh? What? I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looked serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tester. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point good enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine. Then call me Isa. Then you are. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pull like this just popped between us, out of nowhere. See you later, Isa. There is something like a tiny smile on her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside I hear a muffled sing-song voice. I heard that. What did she hear? Oh. Uh-oh. I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who has, I have not heard approaching despite a completely empty hallway. Somehow she got on to jumping distance without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminded me of Kenji's nutty theory about global feminist conspiracy. I'll push that thought aside. Maybe it might be true, maybe it might not. Who knows? Shizune standing slightly behind Misha, looked aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. Oh wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today. She tried to curiously peek past me, though the doors prevent her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? It took so long, but we had come to check. What's wrong? That's no good, teacher. Acting butt. I've got to shit butt, you know. Read it. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you're tardy. Oh, sorry. Got my things here though. Was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hee-chan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signed something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. None you imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface the school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. From suppressed rage, I'm sure. Why are you so angry? Why are you running? Why are you angry? Calm down. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to furiously fine at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it's somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of those tables. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason for my tardiness. better not be getting any funny ideas. I'm warning ya. Hello? Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realise that she might have had trouble opening it. I opened the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you're doing? You're absolutely not permitted to use the school property for such a disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. Anyway, she ignores Shizune and Misha scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure. Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I wonder about that myself too. And? We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the roll will look like someone threw up their lunch on it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the material from me, and takes off with Misha and Caleb. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council's duo. How rude. It's true though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she had and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? The paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sweeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure, where do you need me to take it? Also, politely. Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, making me and the paint can following since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now. Shizune and Misha are gone, so we have to leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10, 15, or 20 steps I have to change the can from one hand to the other because of the thin handle cuts into my palm. Loose it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or maybe I'm walking with because of that extra weight. Seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai. What a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who doesn't acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me he had some business with. There is something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait passively because I don't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin don't make me feel enthusiastic about this interpretation either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we'll do a few tests regularly. But what I want for you to do is keep an eye on everything in your condition. It feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. If anything, come see me if that happens. Right. So, how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic in answer, but then I realise how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me too, teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospitals. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school and both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I get here. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor the pool. So I'd like you to know if you've taken up exercising as I've asked. Of course I ain't, but his way of inquiring gives me a feeling that I should have been running my arse off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. Picked up and left the can up and down a few times, like a sad imitation of the bodybuilder, even by swaying down on my arms painfully. Go on, mate. Hit the old shoulder press with it, or even use it as a bicep curl, yeah? Or bench it. Bench it. The stupid grin disappeared from his face for a second, and then comes back like it was never gone. Jessica, would you give us a second? The nurse grabbed me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and dragged me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it will be. It's the same with everything else, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious from now on? Let's create a new save state here. And yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I promise, definitely. He studied me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. Go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting idly, leaning against the hallway and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you going to get medication for your heart thingy? Were you listening? Comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her, I don't know her, it's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public, but it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder, quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Don't know why it's this hard for me, but it feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, there for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. Just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to this all. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings out about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards to the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. Probably the only inconvenient design of the school. The entire wall is made out of the same kind of brick as the building itself. It has been covered with some kind of painting. Most of it mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the grey plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces, legs and hands. I can't quite say what the paintings are as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. That's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead, and then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from the art class who are helping me with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easy to paint big areas if there are lots of people with hands. The reach is better and faster too. She then goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. It makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of a student faces. Special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So, that's what I'm trying to figure out if there's anything I need to figure out, and then figure out that but before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would all hope be lost? Because the paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she'd made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project. You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but stumbled with my words, turning the film novel straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can spit it out, I pretty won't get mad. I blush really hard, I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. Feels like I'm way more sensitive than Rin is though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask, how do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing anyway. I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was at using her feet to, I guess, figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us have anything to add more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well, and I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. It's pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it would look like in the dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, you know, flat like some people are. No substance, no meat, where there should be some. I know a few girls who... Okay, I get it. But I couldn't tell. I'm really not good with art. Can't name many artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. And I think this is where I'll end it for today. Thank you for watching, and like always, goodbye, and I'll be back soon.